Hello guys, my name is Piros and in this video we will see a quick explanation about service lifetimes in ASP.NET. First of all, let's go to our project. I have the weather forecast API that we get out of the box when creating a new API, but I've added some services. I have a weather forecast repository and I just added the simple logic of returning some forecasts, but I also inject an iLogger and I use it to log a random string value that I get from a random string service. And if we go to that random string service, I just have a naive way of getting three, let's say, random strings. I just get 3 characters of a GUI which I initialize in the constructor. So that's the weather forecast repository, and then we have a weather forecast service in which I inject the repository, the random string service again, and the logger. And we have a getAll method in which I log the value of the random string service. Then we can do some work to implement a real case scenario that uses service and repositories. Then I get all the forecasts from the repositories, then I do some more work, and then I return the forecasts. And in my weather forecast controller, I just inject the weather forecast service to get back all the weather forecasts. The service that we want to look is that random string service, because first we call the weather forecast service and we inject that, and inside the weather forecast service we call the weather forecast repository, and we also inject that random string service in the weather forecast repository. Now, first of all, let's go to our program and let's start with the singleton. So I'll say add singleton, and that's very simple. When we add the service as a singleton, we will get the same instance of the service from the beginning of our application until we terminate it. So if I go and debug that, and I'll open Postman and I will hit that endpoint a lot of times, and as you can see in my logger, we get back the same string each time. Nothing special about the singleton, and nothing special about transient as well. So let's say add transient in here. With transient, each time we request the service, we will get a new instance of that service. So I'll debug that again. I'll also open Postman again. I'll make one request, and as you can see, we get 2 different values inside the same request. And if I continue, as you can see, we get different values every time. And now let's talk about the scope, which might be the one that's most confusing if you are new to service lifetime. So I'll say add scoped. And basically what the scope does is that it will give us a different instance of a service only if we are inside the different HTTP request. But let's see that through an example. So I'll debug that again for one last time, and then I'll hit send. As you can see, we get 9DA in that request both of the times, but if I send another request, then we get 718 both times, but that 718 is different from the values of the previous request. So it's the same inside each request, but different outside of each request. So I can continue to do that, and we will get a different pair of values, not different values every time. Now let's go and put a breakpoint in our weather forecast, since it's the first method we call from our weather forecast controller. So I'll put a breakpoint in here. I'll hit send, and we hit our breakpoint, and the random string value is BOC. And if I put another one in the weather forecast repository, and I'll continue, as you can see, this the value is again the same, and that goes inside the same HTTP request. So in other words, from the time we hit that line in here, we get inside our controller, till the time we return something, we will get the same instance every time and everywhere we request the scoped service. No matter how many services or workflows we have inside the controller or inside the service that's called inside the controller. So I really hope that that video helped you if you had trouble understanding what's up with adding services as scoped. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a nice one.